Well, as you can imagine, just really excited about the upcoming weekend. You know, playing an outstanding team in Kansas with very, very good players, shoot the ball from three exceptionally well, play with great pace and energy. You know, Bill's done a good job with this team because they're not your typical Kansas big, high-low, motion, physical team. They're more of a speed and three-point shooting. He's made some really good adjustments to how they play, and you know, they're hard to guard. But our guys are playing well. We came off a great performance in San Diego. Couldn't be more pleased with how our guys prepared leading up to it. I thought we really went into both games with a great mindset, and just our guys were comfortable. And I thought our defense in the first half of the Auburn game was as good as it can be. And obviously we used that to score some points, and then we played well in the second half with a big lead and made shots and just did a lot of really good things in the game. And so, you know, very rewarding for our guys to reach a Sweet 16 and just really looking forward to the game.
Newman has had a really good tournament so far for Kansas. What makes him so tough to defend?
Big, strong, powerful player that can drive it and make threes. You know, that's I'm not sure how to pronounce the other kid's name, Svi. Both those guys on the wings are dynamite at attacking closeouts and scoring off the catch with a shot or drive. Obviously, Graham puts a ton of pressure on you coming off ball screens, and that's why they're really good and really hard to stop, is they've just got multiple weapons. But obviously, as you mentioned, Newman has played well and shot it well, and Vic has shot it better here lately. So they're really clicking on a lot of cylinders in terms of offensive basketball.
Coach, they got Azubuike back just the right time. You gave him 22 minutes against Seton Hall. How important is it for them to have him back healthy?
I mean, obviously it's important, but I'm not 100%. I think they won the Big 12 championship without him in the tournament, right? So they're still pretty good. But it's obviously another piece that, you know, presents a whole other set of problems. He's huge. He's 7 feet 280, and he does an unbelievable job ducking in for space and just deep catches, and extremely difficult to guard that. You know, because the spacing on the perimeter is such that you're guarding all those three-point shooters. Now they reverse one back and he ducks in and catches it deep, and it's hard. So certainly he provides a whole nother level of offense that you got to deal with, just based on his size, physicality, and you know, strength. So he's a problem.
How would you describe coaching-wise? You know, that Auburn game's not something you expect to happen. Do you let the guys roll with the result? Do you say, okay, it's not always going to be that easy, or do you think at this level they know exactly where they are and what happened?
I think you explain why it happened, and that's what I'm getting ready to do when we meet here. You know, in the next 10 minutes, is show them clips of what you did to make that outcome possible. And, you know, there have to be other contributing factors in terms of them missing some shots that maybe they normally might make, but there was a lot of good defense. There was a lot of good things that we did in the game to cause Auburn problems, and then we capitalized and we made plays. And our execution was good offensively. Our spacing was really good. Our pace was good. We played a high-level game. I mean, you know, and we didn't have some crazy game where, you know, we made 18 threes or something to do it. We just played really, really well on both ends of the floor. Obviously, Gabe made a lot of shots in the second half, but it wasn't an outlandish game where we, again, make 16, 17, 18 threes. It was just a very well executed game plan on both sides, and that's part of why, even though our offensive numbers were really good, they weren't staggering. Our defensive was really good.
But you guys are making shots, and when you make shots,
yeah,
you win games. That's not something, that's not a luxury that you've had with a lot of teams that you've had before. How have you been able to blend the consistency with that solid defense that you guys have had?
Yeah, just I don't, you know, obviously the last 2 years we've had more offensive weapons, and we talked about how that was something we were looking to do, and you know, through recruiting, and we've done a better job of recruiting more different guys that can score, and because of that, we're harder to guard. We play a little faster, and we score a few more points, for sure. Last year's team just wasn't as good defensively. It was hard to get them to do all the things that I wanted them to do, and ultimately I couldn't get them to do it every time. And so we found ourselves in difficult games, close games, and we couldn't always outscore somebody and win. And this year's team, for whatever reason, maybe it's because of some of the close losses last year, maybe it's better coaching, better leadership, whatever it is, combination of all of it, we've attracted their attention to understand that the defense is really important, and if we continue to guard at a high level, we can be really good because we can score. And you know, our defensive numbers in most categories are really high, and you know, we're top 20 in a lot of categories, and you know, that's why you have performances like Sunday.
Right, is that the most impressive thing to you about this whole team, the whole year, that a bunch of offensive-minded guys, as you said last year, it's hard to get them to play defense,
Yeah.
that they've bought into?
I think in some ways, yes, that's part of it. That's part of our success. You know, the improved defense of Elijah Thomas, Shelton Mitchell, better defense. I don't know if he's healthier maybe than he's been, and trying to really do more in that area. You know, I do think Amir tries really hard on the defensive end. David Scarra is a good defensive player. So those are added benefits. You know, I do think Gabe's tried harder this year. Marquise, it's something that we've, you know, really harped on. So I think there's been a concerted effort on our players' minds, and some of that is because they want to win after all the close losses. And it's something we really hit home with in the summer and in the fall, and did a lot of individual drills. We did a lot of one-on-one. We did a lot of different things to challenge our guys and make them understand this has to improve, that I'm not that worried about our offense. I think our offense will be fine, and we'll score, you know, enough points to win in most games, but we got to get stops if we want to really be good. And, that part of it's been really good, but then I just also think that there are years when your team, the pieces just fit together, and whether it's style of play, personalities, your spirit of your team just really fits. And this was a team that once we went to Spain, and I kind of came back from Spain, I knew that this was a team where the spirit of our team was going to be really, really good. And if we could get better as basketball team together, we wouldn't have issues with that we would be a team that fit together both in how we play and in our spirit. So I thought we had a chance to be really, really good this year.
Well, in terms of the fact that you've got a lot on your mind since Sunday night, the other
Sure.
day, though, you made the comment that, you know, you knew you had to win this year.
Yeah.
1 year ago on this past weekend, it was a whole different atmosphere than
Mhm.
this one. Can you at least speak to the fact of reflecting on, you know, you've saved it here, for lack of
Yeah.
a better term?
Yeah, you know, I guess I wasn't as worried as most. I probably should have been. Maybe I was being naive, I don't know. But I also think that I'd had enough conversations with my boss throughout most of the year that, you know, I felt okay. Now, that doesn't always change things. I mean, I think way too much by everyone was made out of the second half of an NIT game. I think like that would have been the biggest overreach in the history of a lot of things. It's college sports with 18 to 21-year-old kids, and you're going to have a bad half, and I'm going to coach bad for a half, or whatever happened in that 20 minutes that we lost it, we lost it. But if you dig deeper into what's really going on in a program and know what's going on in a program, you know, then you just make decisions of whether to keep guys, let guys go, or whatnot. So I was more confident in my bosses that one bad half wasn't going to be this lasting impression on somebody's mind, that they would, you know, have more reflection and dig deeper into everything that was going on in our program and see everything that had happened over the last 5 years. Now, you know, obviously this is very rewarding to get to this point. But this isn't just one season. Like I'm also, it's a group of players that I greatly cherish because of what we've been able to do this year and how we've done it, and to be able to do it with their attitudes has been unreal. But this has been more than a one-year deal. This has been a long struggle to get to this point. This didn't just happen with this team this year. This happened because of the facility and all the things that have gone into it and all the hours. And that's part of why I think I was retained. It wasn't one bad half of basketball. So, for whatever that's worth.
But in terms of, and again, I know you want to get 4 more wins, it would be human nature, though, especially what you just accomplished this past weekend, to kind of exhale and think, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think so. Not if you're a competitive guy. I mean, I've always dreamed of taking a team to the Final Four, and it's what I want to do as a coach and try to win a national championship. And I said that in my interview here. I told my bosses that that's what I wanted to do at Clemson. I think we can do it. And you know, there's a lot of people saying that, though. It's really hard, no question. And I probably have a deeper understanding of that, having been here 8 years, of how hard it really is. You know, I enjoy this journey. I enjoy preparing my teams. I want to do what we can to get ready to try to beat one of the best teams in the country, one of the best programs in the country. So for me, no, there's no like, let's take a deep breath and pat ourselves on the back. Like, that's, when this is over, we'll do that for sure. But right now, it's like, let's get back in there and watch more Kansas film and figure out how to win. And I think our players feel the same way. I think we're excited that, you know, we went to a Sweet 16, and they don't do that here at Clemson very often, but why not more? And that's what we're thinking about.
This group seems to have had a lot of fun all year long. Like,
Absolutely.
they're fun to watch, but they seem like they're having fun too. And
Yeah.
obviously success breeds more of that.
I said this in one of the post-game interviews, that our guys really like each other. I mean, and I think that's true most seasons. I really do. I mean, I think we recruit the kind of kids that guys get along. Even last year's team people, I think, made more out of some things than we're really there. But this year's team, again, for whatever reason, this spirit just fits a little bit better. And some of it, I think, is the leadership of Dante Grantham just being the loudest voice in our locker room. His unselfish nature, his genuine concern and care for others, you know, that permeates through your locker room when your best player is saying that. And then Gabe DeVoe, you know, what he's gone through to wait his turn to get to this point, I think that people see that and they respect that. Our players respect that. So we've got 2 seniors that have a lot of respect in our locker room and garner a lot of respect from their head coach, and they know that, and it's talked about a lot. So, you know, but our guys enjoy the heck out of each other. I mean, it started in Spain, and you can see it. Our freshman, Amir Sims, is one of the funniest, you know, easygoing guys in the world. I mean, he just is, he's just always having fun. Malik is the same way, and so it's been very light. I think what they've done a great job of is knowing when to be fun and goof around, but then also when to flip the switch and, hey, it's time for business. And this team has done an unbelievable job of preparing every week, of like kind of coming to us like, what do we need to do? Like, you guys told us this is what we need to do last week, and it worked. What are we doing this week? Like, they almost want that information. They're ready to use that information, you know, to win. And that's the part about being coachable. This group has been extremely coachable, like hungry to be coached, to be better, and hungry to figure out how to be successful together. And I think that part has been unique and a lot of fun.
Brad,
you
you mentioned the spirit after Spain a lot of times.
Yeah.
Is that in the way they played together? Is the way they handled, you know, the tragedy outside the hotel? Was it maybe all part of
I think some of it's just the nature of the guys.
Yeah.
You know, I think Dante and Gabe are both just guys that are kind of easygoing guys, and so that it kind of starts with them. When you get here, you kind of, you know, as a young guy, you're kind of like, well, what's it like? What's the locker room like? What are the older players? How do they act? You know, and I think that they're so relaxed and just easygoing, easy-natured guys that it starts with them. And then the more guys have fun together, you go on a trip like that, that strengthens the bond a little bit, and now we just kind of enjoy it. And then obviously the winning helps. You start winning a few games, and it's easier to smile and to enjoy the journey a little bit. You know, it's harder when, and I said this many times, like, what last year's team didn't get enough credit for is when you get your heart ripped out in the last 15 seconds of 5 games, and then next week you guys want to like get out there in front of the Lions again, and like, you got to go do that again. you gotta work your tail off all week and go back out there in the Coliseum. It's hard, and you don't get reward of winning. When you win, it's easy to come back to practice and try to get better and watch more film. But when you lose on a last-second shot, or you make a mistake, and then you have to go back out time after time after time, that is hard. That is real hard.
I
One
heard
more
Coach,
question.
I heard- I heard Coach K say today that he actually thought it was beneficial to have their spring break last week and have a regular routine this week for his kids. Your spring break obviously is this week. Do you like having that?
You know, both. I think I'm a little sad for our guys, because I would love our guys to be getting the adulation that would come with winning right now. I mean, it's a little, they deserve it. You know, we're not the biggest program, and so we don't get it on a regular basis. And so to get to this point, something that's been done, this is the first time in 21 years, I wish our players were receiving a few more pats on the back and a few more, you know, a little more praise, and had this kind of media at more games and pre-games and weeks of games. But I do think in terms of preparation, maybe it's good. Maybe there's more rest, a little less stress, certainly not having to get up and go to class every day. I will say the travel back from San Diego was hard. Like it's been hard, like just getting back yesterday, still trying to kind of get our bearings today. Like, to be honest, we're not going to do a lot today, just to try to be rested and then have a really hard practice tomorrow. So that part's been challenging.
Matt, did you
Go
have
ahead.
Go ahead,
You
Matt.
guys go ahead.
Could I was just gonna say, when Dante went out, he said he needed him to keep being that vocal leader.
Yeah.
Can you give some examples of how he's done that? Do you feel like he's still been making that difference?
Yeah, you know, he just is, you just hear his voice on a consistent basis. And again, it's more of, he also knows when to be serious and when it's okay to cut up a little bit or be relaxed. It's not, I mean, he's not over there turning into a coach and a clipboard, because that's really not his nature either. But he's encouraging the guys at the right times, and he's telling them, hey, like, we gotta have this. If it's something that's not being done in a practice, we gotta get this part figured out here. You know, so it's more of just his consistent personality and voice, and it's who he is, than anything in one particular time when he's called a team meeting or some overrated thing like that.
I was
Go
just